Is abandonment a valid reason for divorce in Christianity? Have you ever wondered if abandonment is a valid reason for divorce in Christianity? This question touches on deep moral and ethical considerations within the faith. In Christian teaching, abandonment is indeed seen as a valid reason for divorce, but there are specific conditions that apply. The Apostle Paul addresses this in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7, verse 15. He states that if an unbelieving partner leaves the marriage, the believing spouse is not bound to that marriage. This means they are free to divorce and even remarry if reconciliation is not possible. So, what does abandonment mean in this context? It refers to physical desertion, where one spouse leaves the home and the relationship without any intention of returning. This is different from emotional or spiritual abandonment, which is generally not recognized as valid grounds for divorce in Christian ethics. The focus here is on a tangible physical separation. When a spouse abandons the marriage, especially if they are not a believer, it breaks the marital bond in a practical sense. Christian ethics emphasize that God calls believers to live in peace. Therefore, when one partner leaves, it creates a situation where the remaining spouse may feel justified in seeking a divorce. However, if the abandoning spouse claims to be a believer, the church community has a role to play. They should engage in a process of confrontation and discipline to encourage the abandoning spouse to repent and consider reconciliation. Divorce is ideally seen as a last resort after all attempts at reconciliation have failed. In addition to abandonment, there are other biblical grounds for divorce, such as sexual immorality, as mentioned by Jesus in the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 9. Some interpretations also include willful neglect of marital responsibilities, like failing to provide for basic needs. The overarching principle in Christianity is that marriage is a sacred covenant meant to last a lifetime. Divorce is permitted only under exceptional circumstances that seriously break the marital bond. For Christians facing abandonment, it is essential to weigh moral responsibilities carefully. They should seek peace and reconciliation first. However, if an unbelieving spouse has physically abandoned the marriage, the believing spouse is released from their marital obligations. This decision is not made lightly but is understood within the framework of Christian ethics and morality. In summary, abandonment by an unbelieving spouse is a valid reason for divorce in Christianity. It is important that this abandonment is physical and final, and that all appropriate efforts for reconciliation and church discipline have been considered. Emotional or spiritual abandonment does not meet this standard in traditional Christian ethics.